You're watching Coin TV, Channel 6, Portland, Vancouver.
Hurricane Emily. Does it come ashore tomorrow morning on the upper North Carolina and lower Virginia coast, or take another turn to the north? We'll have analysis and on-the-scene reports.
Angry Israeli settlers protest as the cabinet gives historic approval of Palestinian self-rule. And what really went wrong near Waco during the raid of the Koresh cult ranch? A new investigation.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather following Hurricane Emily along the North Carolina coast, and Connie Chung from CBS News World Headquarters in New York.
Good evening, live tonight from Nags Head, North Carolina, the very heart of the currently hurricane-warned area. Potentially, this could become a very dangerous place over the next 24 hours as Hurricane Emily closes in. An official hurricane warning is up tonight along most of the upper North Carolina coast until just north of the Virginia border. That means hurricane conditions are expected unless something changes within the next 24 hours. Emily is still some 300 miles out at sea off Cape Hatteras, North Carolina tonight, heading slowly, very slowly toward the west-northwest. No one would be surprised at another turn to the north. But this is a very unpredictable hurricane, and a sudden change of direction, any direction, is not out of the question. So no one is taking any chances. This was a day to withdraw from the Outer Banks, the narrow islands along the North Carolina shore. Police ordered more than 150,000 people, including many tourists, to evacuate the islands. Those who ignored the order were advised to provide police with the name of their next of kin, just in case. Rising water, always a threat with the hurricanes. The surf's up all along the East Coast, with seas several feet higher than normal from Florida up to New York. From the Carolinas to Virginia and Maryland, the areas most at risk at the moment, people stocked up on food and other necessities and boarded up their windows, all the while hoping that Emily will pass them by. Now, for the very latest on where Hurricane Emily is right now and where it may be headed, let's go to our old friend, veteran hurricane forecaster, Dr. Neil Frank at CBS affiliate KHOU-TV in Houston. Dr. Frank, what's most likely to happen?
Hurricane Emily is edging closer to the North Carolina coast. All day long, it has been moving towards the west-northwest, very slowly, about 10 miles an hour. Now, we know that the storm is eventually going to turn to the north and then accelerate quite rapidly to the northeast, but we don't know when that turn is going to take place. If it continues to move on this west-northwest coast for, say, another 24 hours, then there's a good chance that the center will move across the eastern part of North Carolina. On the other hand, if that turn would begin in another 12 or 18 hours, there's an outside chance that the storm center would miss the Outer Banks altogether. But hurricane warnings are in effect on the North Carolina coast from just west of Morehead City all the way up to the Virginia border, and there's signs that the storm is strengthening. Winds are now 95 miles an hour.
Dr. Frank, when it gets over the Gulf Stream, the warm Gulf Stream that runs up against the East Coast, it's more likely to strengthen?
Well, that's what we think may be happening this afternoon. The Air Force is indicating that it may be strengthening as we talk.
Dr. Neil Frank at KHOU-TV in Houston, thanks. CBS News correspondents are positioned all along the prime hurricane target area, which is now from Morehead City, North Carolina, up to Ocean City, Maryland. Let's go first to Diana Gonzalez in Morehead City. Diana?
Dan, this is the bridge between Morehead City and Atlantic Beach. As you can see, police are stopping all cars attempting to cross the bridge. Sightseers, surfers, and basically anyone who doesn't really belong on the beach are being turned away at this point. Homeowners and business owners are being told to evacuate. Now, this is a voluntary evacuation, but police are advising everyone to basically get off the island. And actually, they say that many people began to leave yesterday when the coast began to be threatened. We're talking about a population of about 15,000 people in the summer. Most of the tourists have already left, and so have most of the residents. Some, however, are determined basically to stay and ride out the storm in their homes. For those who want to leave, shelters have been set up. Schools are closed for tomorrow. Right now, let's go further up the North Carolina coast to Reed Galen in Cape Hatteras.
New shelters in Wilson and Rocky Mountain.
It is not so much a mad dash to safety
Dare County has issued a mandatory evacuation
as it is a reluctant, organized exodus. Most of those leaving are tourists. It is the season, or was.
I'm kind of glad it's mandatory, because if it wasn't, we would still be here.
Among those evacuating to a hotel on higher ground, a man on the first day of his honeymoon.
Well, she doesn't even like thunderstorms, so I think this would be a little bit much for her to take.
A little girl named Emily, the object of a lot of teasing.
I don't want to hurt anybody.
The menace over the horizon seems a long way off on such a beautiful day. But concern is rising with the waves and the tide. Beyond a certain excitement,
Just feel it in the air. Everybody's like jacked.
is a certain anxiety. People saw what happened in Florida. Emily is not supposed to be nearly as strong as Hurricane Andrew. But the same things are at risk, not just buildings.
That's my life. That's his life. It's my son's life. There's just too much there to leave and take that chance.
Even those who say they'll ride it out at a qualifier, unless the storm begins to look more like Andrew.
I don't do storms well, especially something that big.
So the way the old joke goes, you don't mess with Mother Nature.
The last time a big hurricane actually moved across these islands was more than 3 decades ago. But there have been so many close calls since that people have gotten used to the idea that it could happen. Believing that it will is something quite different.
Boarded up enough of these places over the years.
By late afternoon, a gentle sea breeze had picked up. On any other sunny summer day, it would have been refreshing. Reed Galen, CBS News, Cape Hatteras.
I'm Giselle Fernandez, live in Virginia Beach, just outside, just north of what's being called the danger zone, but still much too close for comfort for many people here. Officials are taking every precaution. All emergency agencies are on alert. Even the 2 big military bases here are taking every precaution. Norfolk Naval Base and Langley Air Force Base have both sent ships and aircraft to safer waters and safer ground just in case. Now, obviously, a major area of concern here is along the resort strip, along the waterfront behind me. There are a lot of high-rise hotels filled with lots of tourists still at peak season before the big holiday season. No one has yet been ordered to evacuate from this area, but nothing is being ruled out. The people here in Virginia Beach know how just unpredictable these storms can be. They were hit by a big one 30 years ago. Hurricane Donna caused mass devastation. The locals here are hoping it will be at least another 30 years before another one hits, but tonight are taking every precaution just in case, watching and waiting along with everyone else. I'm Giselle Fernandez reporting live in Virginia Beach. Let's now go to Bob Orr in Ocean City, Maryland. Bob?
Giselle, here in Ocean City, which is the northernmost part of the watch area, the waves are about twice as high as normal, but that's the only sign at all that anything is brewing out of the Atlantic. At this hour, federal emergency management people in town here are meeting downtown to map the preliminary plans, but no evacuations have been ordered, and none are expected in the next couple of hours. There'll be another meeting again tomorrow morning. The last time anybody was moved out of Ocean City because of a hurricane was back in 1985 when Gloria, a much stronger storm than Emily, kind of skirted the coast and did considerable damage here. The people here are hoping this time that Emily will stay a little farther out to sea and they will escape unscathed. The next 36 to 48 hours should tell the tale here along the Maryland coast. Dan?
Bob Orr, Giselle Fernandez, Reed Galen, and Diana Gonzalez, thank you all. Our CBS News team of hurricane hunters will stay on top of developments throughout the evening, around the clock, on into the critical hours tomorrow morning when Emily could hit land. Here live at Nags Head, North Carolina, the surf's up, the wind's up, the glass, the barometer is beginning to go down. It's a reminder that no one should be mistaken. All hurricanes are dangerous. Of course, some are more dangerous than others. To put Emily in perspective, on a scale of 1 to 5, it is currently a Category 1 hurricane, meaning it's dangerous but is the least powerful, highest winds 95 miles an hour. Wind damage with Category 1s is usually limited to trees and mobile homes, but there can be serious flooding in lowland areas. Keep in mind, Emily is still picking up wind strength and could grow into a more powerful storm. Last year's Hurricane Andrew did. Andrew became a Category 4, winds as high as 155 miles an hour. Category 4 hurricanes are capable of extreme damage, and Andrew turned out to be the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history in terms of damage. There are only 2 Category 5 hurricanes on the modern record. Category 5s are capable of catastrophic damage. The last one was Hurricane Camille, which hit the Mississippi coast in 1969, killing 256 people. This is important. At this point, it is still anyone's guess exactly where Hurricane Emily might hit land, if it hits at all. The most likely target at the moment is right here along the coast of North Carolina, between Morehead City and Cape Hatteras. roughly, but there's still a number of possible scenarios. Emily could hit right here along the Outer Banks and then stab right on inland, spawning perhaps tornadoes as it goes. Or the hurricane could skid off these Outer Banks and then head up the eastern seaboard toward New York, Boston, and New England. There's a possibility that Emily turns north before hitting land and then heads on up the coast without ever hitting North Carolina. And there's a small chance the hurricane could still simply blow out to sea. That could happen. We'll be following the hurricane to let you know exactly what it does and what you need to do if you're in or near its path. And we'll have an update later in this broadcast. Right now, let's go to Connie Chung in New York with the important developments in the Middle East and the rest of the day's news. Connie?
Thanks, Dan. Also coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, taking a chance on peace in the Middle East. The Israeli cabinet votes on a plan to end the war between Jews and Palestinians. And a daring pre-dawn raid by U.S. forces in Somalia, but they struck the wrong house.
They're rambunctious, full of energy, and in constant motion. They're kids. Unfortunately, not all kids are like this.
That's why Kellogg's Rice Krispies, you know, the cereal that talks, has something really important to say. From now until September the 5th, every time you buy a box of Rice Krispies, Kellogg's will give $1 to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. That's right, $1 from Kellogg's every time you buy Rice Krispies.
Because someday we'd like to see Jerry's kids just be kids.
I'm using Pam, the only leading all-natural cooking spray to cook a low-fat feast. Pam lets the natural flavors come through, so nothing comes between you and the taste of your food. Pam.
The 11th round of Middle East peace talks beginning tomorrow in Washington will dwarf the previous 10 in importance. Israel is entering the talks committed to self-rule for the Palestinians. Bob Simon reports tonight's breakthrough in Jerusalem.
Israel's cabinet tonight endorsed an agreement which attempts to end the 100-year war between Jews and Palestinians. The agreement could be signed in Washington within the next few days.
I think this is a departure from the past and the beginning of a different future.
It takes the threat of peace to bring people out into the streets. Several thousand right-wingers demonstrated outside the cabinet meeting tonight. Jewish settlers mainly, afraid that the ground was being taken from under their homes. The leader of the opposition Likud party said tonight's protest was just the opening round.
Once the vast majority of the people realize that they're going to get a PLO state 1 mile from where we're standing, 2 miles from the government offices here in Jerusalem, this will cause, I think, an even greater acceleration of demonstrations.
The plan involves the withdrawal of Israeli troops from the Gaza Strip and the Jericho district of the West Bank. Palestinians will take control of everything from taxes to education. Everything, in fact, except security and foreign affairs, which will remain in Israeli hands. Jewish settlements will stay where they are. Israel will control the borders. Israel will gradually pull back from the rest of the West Bank. Israeli officials say they're now prepared to formally recognize the PLO. Negotiations about that are being conducted secretly in Europe this week.
If Israel recognizes the PLO, this is where Yasser Arafat may be able to set up his headquarters, the town of Jericho, known for its walls, its date palms, its history, soon to be known perhaps as the first bit of what was once Palestine to be returned to Palestinian control.
For Israelis, it is the sudden breaking of a powerful taboo, dealing with the PLO. For Palestinians, it is just possibly the beginning of the end of the long wait. Bob Simon, CBS News, Jericho.
A UN spokesman in Somalia maintains today's attempt by American Rangers to smoke out a fugitive warlord was a textbook operation. But many tonight are wondering just what textbook they were reading. More from National Security Correspondent David Martin at the Pentagon.
The Rangers got off to a bad start in Somalia, staging a pre-dawn raid that can only be described as a screw-up from start to finish. About 50 Rangers rappelled from helicopters onto a building where renegade warlord Muhammad Adid was known to meet with his lieutenants and sometimes spend the night. But the building was empty, so the Rangers went next door and at gunpoint seized 8 civilians who turned out to work for the UN. The good news was no one got hurt, but even the president seemed hard-pressed to say anything good about it.
Was the Somalia raid bungled?
I don't think I would characterize it in that way.
Trying to explain what had gone wrong, a UN military spokesman lost his temper with another UN official who expressed outrage at how roughly employees of the UN Development Program had been treated.
I resent standing up here and having you question me like that. I did not come here to be ambushed like this by the UNDP. We had a right to be there. We did our job.
From bottom up, U.S. officials are losing patience with the UN.
To date, we have tried to be cooperative with the policies that have been jointly developed. We have not been just simply driving this. We have really tried to work within the framework of the UN to prove that this thing could work over the long run.
But senior U.S. military commanders are also furious with the Rangers for having attempted this morning's raid without good enough intelligence, and have told them in no uncertain terms next time they'd better be sure Adid or his lieutenants are there. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
There was another incident of brutal mass shootings in Brazil today. Gunmen wearing hoods entered a Rio de Janeiro shantytown and shot at least 21 people to death. The massacre may have been revenge for the weekend killing of 4 policemen in the same neighborhood. 8 Rio street children were shot to death last month, allegedly by the police. Stay with us for much more CBS Evening News, including mounting support and anger as Michael Jackson cancels another concert.
They're all angels, but boy, did they make a mess. In my classroom, I have a cabinet full of Brawny. Those thirst pockets are what do the trick. Spill after spill, day after day. At times, I lose it. Sometimes I'd like them to absorb the kids.
Only Brawny has thirst pockets. These unique absorbers make Brawny so good at soaking up spills.
Brawny gets to the mess before the mess gets to you.
Out here isn't the only place our Ford F-Series pickups have blazed new trails. Our engineering labs are filled with constant improvements like our new standard airbag, a new convertible console seat, and yet along with all these new ideas, there's one that's not new for us at all. Toughness. Because when you design a truck for the future, it better be built to last that long. Ford F-Series, the #1 selling truck, is built Ford tough.
We dreamed about a vacation in Hawaii, then diarrhea nearly ruined it. So I bought Imodium AD. It works better than others, often in one dose. Our diarrhea was gone, and we had a great time.
Imodium AD, the original prescription for one-dose relief. Athlete's foot grows just beneath the surface of your skin, so that's where you have to get to cure it. Mycotin penetrates the skin surface with miconazole and kills the annoying fungus right where it starts. Mycotin penetrates, Mycotin cures.
He was convicted of killing this woman. Now it's his turn. Death by Midnight on 48 Hours Wednesday.
Michael Jackson's latest performance was canceled again today because of illness. Back home, new details are emerging in the criminal investigation involving the superstar, including some secretly recorded conversations obtained by CBS News. Correspondent Sandra Hughes has the story.
Fans gathered outside the hotel in Singapore where Michael Jackson is staying after yet another concert postponement. His doctor says he has a headache. CBS News has obtained a taped phone conversation. The voices are purportedly the father of the 13-year-old boy who is accusing Michael Jackson of abusing him and the boy's stepfather. The conversation was taped in July before the police began their investigation.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe it. He will not believe what's going to happen to him. Beyond his worst nightmares. Sell one more record. If I go through with this, I win big time. I will get everything I want. They will be destroyed forever.
Jackson's private investigator has said all along the accusers were motivated by a failed extortion attempt.
It spells out everything to me that this was an extortion attempt from the very beginning, that it was all planned.
The boy's father, a Beverly Hills dentist, isn't returning phone calls. A recent legal request he made to take custody of the 13-year-old from his mother has been withdrawn. Meantime, Jackson friend Elizabeth Taylor flew to his side for moral support.
I believe totally that Michael will be vindicated. I believe in Michael's integrity, his love and respect of children. I know it will all come out all right.
Today, the Jackson family announced they too will fly to Asia to be with Michael.
I'm behind my son. I don't believe any of this stuff that's being written about him because I raised him and I know him, and that's just a statement people are making.
Fans in Singapore were told to hold on to their tickets for tonight's postponed concert because Jackson would be back on stage Wednesday night. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, new details on the doomed raid near Waco, how the Branch Davidians knew what was coming.
Her name is Sarah, and she's lucky, because today she'll encounter egrets doing dances and alligators in the wild. She'll see how other moms take care of their kids, and she'll be doing this, recycling, through a program of the National Park Service and its recycling partner, Dow.
We can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Together with the National Park Service and folks like Sarah.
Dow lets you do great things.
Welcome to the medical center of the 90s, because today, people who need anything from the most basic assistance to the most advanced medical care can get it at home, and we're making it possible. We're Interim Healthcare. Every day we send more nurses to more hospitals than anyone in North America, and now, more than ever, we're bringing that experience and caring home. Interim Healthcare. Temporary heroes.
Why are these people smiling? They've got Polidin for partials, with the power to clean the pearly part and the metal part in just 5 minutes. So get Polidin for partials, because, hey, it's good looking on almost everybody.
Hurricane Watch will track Hurricane Emily as it heads for the East Coast, and people get ready for the worst.
Tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
When federal agents made their original raid on Branch Davidian headquarters near Waco, Texas, the surprise attack came as no surprise to the people inside the ranch. Ever since, federal officials have been investigating what went wrong. Today, as Scott Pelley reports, some of the details of that internal investigation have leaked out.
When ATF agents raided the Branch Davidians, the cult had been tipped in advance. Now investigators say a TV cameraman was an unwitting source of the information, and ATF commanders, knowing the element of surprise had been lost, decided to launch the raid anyway. The Waco cameraman was near the compound before the raid. He reportedly stopped to ask directions from a man in a postal vehicle. But what the cameraman didn't know was that the postman was also a member of the cult. A source familiar with the investigation tells CBS News the conversation did relay information to the Davidians that law enforcement action was imminent. The source described it as the tip that killed us. The photographer is from the same station that shot these pictures. KWTX Television says its cameraman did nothing wrong and did not relay any specific information about the raid. But Koresh knew they were coming. An undercover agent reported that, but raid commanders decided to go ahead, despite orders to stop if their cover was blown. Even after the raid, ATF was a stonewall of denials.
There is no way we would have executed that raid if the people running the operation would have realized that the element of surprise was lost.
Sources say the commanders decided to go ahead when they didn't see the cult arming itself. That last-second decision is at the heart of the Treasury Department's investigation. No conclusions have been drawn. Investigators are still analyzing their information. But in about a month, Treasury is expected to issue its final report on what went wrong outside Waco. Scott Pelley, CBS News, Dallas.
A Delta rocket blasted off from Cape Canaveral, Florida today, carrying the Air Force's latest navigation satellite into orbit. The launch was a day early, moved up to avoid running into any turbulence from Hurricane Emily. Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, live from New York and the North Carolina coastline, Dan Rather with the latest on Hurricane Emily and where it might strike first.
What if some things cost less than expected? A diamond ring for $50. A nice little place for $200 a month. Playoff tickets, $5. Well, here's one thing that costs less than you'd expect. A Mr. Goodwrench Quick Lube Plus oil change. Try us for a change.
I knew something must be wrong. I was getting these sharp pains, and sometimes pressure and bloating. I'm glad I asked my doctor. He said it was gas and recommended Mylanta Gas.
Mylanta Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
Day one, in the middle of nowhere. The meals have been superb. It's a good thing they have a fitness program aboard every Royal Caribbean ship. Maybe I'll work out tonight before dinner. Maybe I won't. There was something about the streamers at our Bon Voyage party that told me this is going to be the vacation of a lifetime.
You've got some Royal Caribbean coming. Some people are fussy about their mouth, and some people are very fussy. For them, there's Rembrandt, the low abrasion whitening toothpaste. Over 50,000 dentists have recommended it. And Rembrandt Mouth Refreshing Rinse. 100% alcohol-free, 100% delicious. A splendid way to fight bad breath. For the best for your mouth, there's only one Rembrandt.
He packs heavy. She packs light. She wears silk. He wears wool. He's comfortable at 68 degrees. She prefers 72. Good thing they own a Buick Park Avenue with available dual-zone climate control. 72 for her, 68 for him. Too bad everything isn't as accommodating as Park Avenue. From Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
Back live now along North Carolina's Outer Banks, where dark is descending. A rather ominous feeling is settling in. The seas are on the rise. The wind is on the rise. Hurricane Emily could be in Carolina by morning. The center of the storm is now less than 300 miles off the coast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. Highest sustained winds, about 85 miles an hour. They are expected to get stronger. Not as strong as, say, Hurricane Andrew or Hugo, but still dangerous. Emily is heading toward the west-northwest at the moment, crawling at about 7 miles an hour. It is expected to turn toward the north tomorrow, when and if it makes that turn critical. Official hurricane warnings up tonight along most of the upper North Carolina coast, northward to just above the Virginia border. Thinking of high tides and rising water to come, thousands followed police orders today and evacuated North Carolina's barrier islands to get out of Emily's way. Throughout the hurricane warning area, people stocked up on food, bought batteries, and boarded up their homes. The next move is up to the still very unpredictable hurricane. And that's part of our world tonight. CBS News will be tracking the hurricane throughout the evening and all through the night. Harry Smith and our CBS News team will bring you live on-scene reports tomorrow on CBS This Morning. And we'll have a complete report tomorrow night on the CBS Evening News. Reporting live from Nags Head, North Carolina, I'm Dan Rather.
I'm Connie Chung in New York.